Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 129 on the Everyday Joy podcast. So good to be with you, and I want to share a little snippet of an email that I received the other day. By the way, if you'd like to send through an email, you can do that. It's everydayjoy@positivemedia.com.au. I was talking about dancing, I think, in episode 116, I believe, and Yvonne messaged through and she said, "Dear Joy, I was not at all surprised that you found a community at dancing. This is exactly what happened to me after a difficult time 17 years ago. I found a wonderful community of people who would share dinner before or after class, and I have ongoing good friends from that time." You know, in today's episode, a little bit later, I talk about a time in my life where I needed that community and I couldn't quite find it. And maybe for you listening right now, you also have this sense of you want to be part of a community, but you don't know where to start, or maybe you've been hurt by a community that you used to be a part of. If you haven't already, go ahead and be a part of the Everyday Joy Facebook community. I know it's a social media group, but let me tell you, there are some real individuals there with real hearts and real acts of kindness that I see every day on the page. People supporting each other, liking each other's comments, affirming each other. It's a beautiful space to be a part of, and you can click on that link below. Right now, though, let's get into today's episode.
Romans 12 verse 2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will.
I've got the incredible Kate here in studio with me all this week on the Everyday Joy podcast. Kate, so good to have you.
I'm glad to be back. This is so much fun.
It is fun. I love what you shared yesterday. We talked a fair bit about God inviting you into something greater, something more. And what I love is that today's conversation talks about our mind and our thought process and the way we think, how that can affect basically the learnings from yesterday's episode. So make sure you do check out yesterday's one to get the most out of today's. Today, one of my favorite verses, I have to say, this is one that my dad would often say. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So for me, I guess my first impression of this verse is it's familiar territory. It's something that pops up whenever I feel really low or down or I'm battling mentally. I'm so grateful that this verse was kind of like drilled into me from a young age. It's really been a lifesaver. What about you though, Kate? What are your first impressions of this verse, and what does this tell you about who God is or what matters to him?
I think it says that it matters more what we believe than how we behave, because behavior is an echo of our belief. So what's going on in our mind is so important, and it's the one area that God has chosen not to get involved in. He will never violate our will.
Our free will.
He has given us free choice about what we think and about what we do, even though I'm sure it's been very painful for him because we hurt ourselves and we hurt other people. But it actually really reminds me of a lovely lady named Mel Robbins, who wrote a book called The High Five Habit. And she talks about transforming our mind, but in kind of from a non-Christian perspective, but it's a really great way of thinking about it and understanding what it looks like. So if you're going, what does that mean to transform our mind? First of all, God's actually after what we think and what we believe more than what we do, because it will shift once we change what we think. But Mel uses the example of a bouncer, like at a club or at a, that says, oh no, you're not on the list, you can't get in. And that what we put on that list is basically the things that we're telling that bouncer, this is what's important to me. Only let through the door the things that are on this list. Because the reality is there's too much going on in the world for us and our brain to comprehend everything. We're not thinking about what color every car is that goes by. We're not, looking at every crack on the pavement. We can't do that. Our brain can't function that way. So it only lets in the things that are important to us. But we actually get to tell that bouncer what's on that list. So if you use the example, maybe that you feel a bit worthless or people always leave you or forget about you, then you're going to see evidence of that over and over again. You're going to be hearing things that confirm that. But if instead you said, I'm valuable and I'm included, and you say, I only want to get information that says I'm valuable and I'm included, that's what's on the list, then you're going to start to see and hear that kind of information. And what I love is that, again, we talked about this yesterday, that God's inviting us into more. There is more about ourselves, about Him, about the world that we've yet to see, and that it's this wonderful journey of exploration and discovery with Him, and that we can change things and we can change our mind and we can learn to do things differently. And I just love the grace of God as He walks us through that, because sometimes we get it right and sometimes we don't think about it at all. And I go, God, I forgot to think about you all day. And His grace is so sufficient for us.
And what I love is the fact that we can rewrite that list. We can hand God the pen and the paper and we can say, okay, let's sit down, let's nut this together. What I love about what you shared is that it is so true. I went through a period in my life where I had this belief, when I first moved to Melbourne, it was really tough. There were so many different layers to it. But one of the things that I noticed was that I lost connection with a lot of my friends and family and really important social groups back in New Zealand. And one of the lies I did believe was that I'm forgettable. And very quickly, that would get reinforced. Every time someone didn't reply to a message, I'm like, well, yeah, it's because I'm forgettable. It's because I'm a nobody, because I'm this. And then it spiraled. And that one point on my bouncers list really came to life. And, this bouncer, I'm just imagining like this big burly guy with a shaved head and like sunglasses being like, yep, you can come through.
Nope.
But yeah, being able to rewrite that has been a huge part of diving deeper into my own journey, my own faith, and saying to God, well, what do you say about me? And I know that you've got a story around that, Kate.
Absolutely. It's intentional. We get to choose what's on that list. And I love that God's given us that freedom. And so I think my story was, I believed for a long time, and I had a bit of a revelation in my mid-20s that I was unlovely, that I never really felt beautiful. I always felt a little bit chubby, or I actually in high school had the blonde skinny best friend that all the boys liked her and none of them liked me. And so again, that reinforced the fact that I wasn't lovely, that I wasn't desirable. And so it really did impact. It didn't get me down, because I'm at the same time an uber optimist and positive. So I was like, oh well, this is just it. But it wasn't this sense of loving myself and accepting myself and believing that other people would also love and accept me. And then a couple of years later, I had this revelation in a prayer ministry time that God actually said, Kate, you're not unlovely. You are my beloved. And it totally blew my mind, because that word beloved has kind of two ideas about it. One is to be loved. So it's a choice to receive that love, but it's also an identity that I am someone else's beloved. And I actually realized around that same time that my name, Catherine, in one of, I read in a little book that it actually says white, pure, and beloved. And I was like, oh, this is who I've been the whole time. And I didn't realize it. And it really shifted things for me. It doesn't mean I don't ever feel that or that I don't ever feel unlovely or struggle with those things. But now that I know that, I can actually say, hold on, that's not true. Is that true? No, you're the beloved, Kate. And so I'm going, nope, that's not on the list. That can't come in.
So how did you do that? I mean, for someone right now who's maybe thinking, okay, I've got this thing on the list and it's allowing thoughts and feelings that aren't in line with who God says I am. And you had that moment of, oh, okay, I got to change what's on the list. How did you actively go about doing that just in a practical way?
It's something that you have to do a lot. It's not just a one thing, done and dusted. Primarily, I'm asking God, what's the truth to change, to be the opposite of this lie? And then I'm looking to have that confirmed from people around me. So I would say, hey, Joy, am I unlovely?
And I would say, no, you are the most loveliest person.
And probably doing it when you're in a good space rather than in the down in the dumps, because it's really hard to hear the truth, And then asking people around you to be speaking into your life, especially if it's a belief that we've held for a really long time. I think it's going to take a long time to change that, to change those things on the list, and also to do things, which is another scripture verse, all about taking those thoughts captive and being able to go, hold on, is that true? Being that bouncer, that gatekeeper, am I actually going to allow this to enter the building, or am I going to say, nope, you don't get to be in there? And that does take time. There's no quick fix with our mind, because God said, I'm not going to come in and just fix and change, because I value that you get to choose me and you get to choose what you think, what you feel, how you live. And as much as I wish that God, can you just like change it? Like just change how I think and feel. I also love that he's honored that, because otherwise he basically runs me and we become robots, and that's not the kind of relationship that God wants to have with us. He wants to have a deep and personal relationship where we get to consistently every day choose him, choose that better way.
Beloved. Man, what a beautiful word. And I just find it so remarkable that the word beloved lines up so much with Catherine. That's her actual name. And so I thought today for the application, maybe you could take a moment to ask God, who do you say I am? And you may find that there's a thought that bubbles up, a word or a verse, and you're like, wow, what? No, sorry, I would have never called myself that. I remember going through a similar phase, and I just felt really stupid. Like, I just felt really dumb. I wasn't doing well at uni, and I talked about this in a previous episode. And I remember praying and asking God, Lord, who do you think I am? And I was expecting something like, you're worthy, you're valuable, like all these words I think I already felt strong in. But the word that came to mind very quickly, and I knew it wasn't my own thought, was the word brilliant. And it broke me, because I knew those weren't my own thoughts. I would be the last person on earth to call myself brilliant. And I've held on to that at times when I felt not up to the task, when I felt like, I don't think I have the brain power for this. I'm doing part-time study at the moment, and I've definitely had moments of wondering whether I can even do this. My goodness, I remember those words, brilliant, and it powers me forward. So the application for today's verse is this: find a pocket of quiet time today and ask God, who do you say I am? And you might be surprised with what happens on the other side. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but be a new and different person with a fresh newness in all you do and think. Then you will learn from your own experience how His ways will really satisfy you. Hey, that wraps up episode 129 on the Everyday Joy podcast. It's been such a blast, and I look forward to catching up again tomorrow.